I'm like, man, and I understand. There is people constantly up here, constantly. I'm like, I literally said, I'm like, I feel like this is your job. Like, every time, I didn't even have time to take a shower until 11 o'clock last night.
Really?
Every time I went to get in the shower, ding dong, it was literally rotating, and you could watch it right there. It was like boom, 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 every 2 seconds.
Maybe you should have been like, you know what, guys, it's enough.
I know, I was like, and I was trying to hit around, you know, I'm like, well, you know, I'm going to go to bed now, and then sure enough, ding dong, I'm like, finally, I gave up and just didn't even answer it anymore.
Yeah.
Because I had to get in the shower at some point in time.
Right. All right. I mean, I always feel awkward doing this, but
I know.
It's just.
But I understand.
Well, I mean, the main reason I wanted to talk to you, number one, first and foremost, is that like I kind of heard through the grapevine that you felt like I was maybe targeting you, and that is so far beyond the truth. And one of the reasons and the reason I was confiding in you, Rennie, and Steven that day when we were in the room right before the eviction ceremony, is because I wanted to let you know who I was going to be putting up. I mean, I don't think I've been very transparent at all when it comes to if I would have won HOH, it would have been Libra and April, only because those two are the ones that I feel that are gunning for me, and it was just a matter of safety for myself.
Okay.
Because of the fact that, I mean, 2 weeks in a row, two of my friends left the house, you know, and it's just been like, my stomach's been on knots, and you know how I feel because Steven left.
Yeah.
And it's
I know. And, you know, and it's nothing personal against you, Angie. Like, I don't want you to think that I, you know, didn't like you or that I, you know, for whatever reason, you know, I want you to know it has been nothing personal. I'm the one person that does not have a problem with you.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just, I got in this situation, and tell you the truth, I wasn't too happy about being in this situation.
Right.
Like, I was happy that I got HOH, of course, because the pictures and the letters and, you know, all of that stuff. But when it came to, like, putting two people up,
it's probably the hardest thing that you've ever had to do, like, as far as being in this house.
It was so hard.
Yeah.
It was so hard because I don't have people in here that I feel are my enemy. Like, I don't look at people and go, oh, I really don't like her.
Right.
So I'm going to put her up.
Right.
You know what I mean? I really don't feel like that with people. So to pick two people I honestly had no idea what I was going to do.
Yeah.
It took me forever, but you were the one person that never even came to me. And
I think that and I'll explain to you, and that's why I wanted to make sure that I came up to you when I had the opportunity to just let you know that there was no personal vendetta or issues with it, because I mean, even if I miraculously ended up staying in the house next week, I mean, to me, because you were friends with Steven, I feel like I have a little bit more of a connection to you, and like wanting to do what Steven kind of wanted to do than I do with many other people in the house. Because, you know, and the whole, you know, just to address the whole, me coming up to you with the whole Brian situation that time, was mainly because when the conversations that I had with Steven and like me just being like, oh my gosh, my friend's getting voted out, is this game about me playing the game, or am I really, you know, I feel strongly about this friendship that I have somebody and I want to do everything that I can possibly do to save them.
And I understand how you felt whenever it happened to me last week.
Right.
You know?
And it's just like everybody didn't understand that because it hadn't really, Steven did because, you know, it happened to him too. It was just like, felt like a total outcast, you know, people stopped talking to me about anything, even though it was like the plan of the house to, okay, Brian's going to go first week. I accepted it. And then, remember the conversation I had with you when you came in and me and Michelle were talking about the sauna, and I was like, yeah, I talked to Steven and I just let him know that he's not the target for next week because the plan was Dan was going home. And
okay, so you weren't in on that?
No.
Because I've been told by so many people that you were up here in that room and were in on that, and that I was the only one left out of that.
No. I'm never in conversations in this house.
I wasn't in that conversation either.
See, and I thought that you were.
And no, I was not in that conversation. I had no idea. Steven was going up. I had no idea. When it was just me, you, Dan, and Steven sitting at that table, I thought it was one of us, of course, but I couldn't tell you which ones it was. I had no idea.
Right.
I mean, I was very nervous about that. And you know, it had always been like, you know from the original agreement, it wasn't supposed to be Steven.
No. Not at all.
And that's how I felt. I was like, well, wait a minute. Like, these people are coming up here and they're changing this game. And then, then they're trying to come back on me for changing it. It's like, hey, you changed that last week when you threw Steven under the bus and I had no say in it. They targeted me and you've seen them doing that. They targeted me for being his friend.
Oh, I know how it feels. I know how it feels. And that's why I let you know that if you ever want to talk about that kind of stuff, like, it sucks. It sucks to, like, go outside and be in a room full of people that don't even want to talk to you because you're friends with somebody. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, Angie. I believe that 100%. I agree with you. It was a horrible, horrible feeling. And then I felt like all of a sudden when it was okay for everybody to talk to Steven, then the rest of them could talk to him.
Right.
And joke around with him and be okay. Now that the target is off, what the fuck?
So, and then, like, I felt completely just beside myself because, after the whole, like, consequences and things that happened because I tried to help a friend with Brian, and Steven's like, you won't help me? And I was like, Steven,
yeah.
I agreed to go along with the house plans. I was like, well,
it puts you in a bad spot.
Yeah, and that's why I had to be honest. In that conversation we had outside about if I was going to use the power of veto on him, that was like a hard decision to say, no, I have to tell him that I'm not going to use it on him because of everything that happened with Brian last week. Because
I guess my biggest thing with you is like I've never really got to talk to you one-on-one about anything, so I have to assume things.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I have to go off the people that are talking to me. What they're saying. I don't think that I'm like the other girls in this house. I don't think that I am petty over stupid shit. Like, I don't think that I look at a girl, and I'm not saying all the girls are like that. That's not what I mean. I don't mean that at all. But I just mean, like, I have my own mind. Like, I'm not following anyone, I just, when I tried to pick two people, I tried to go off of the only two things that I could think of. You know what I mean? Like, in the house. Like, and with Jesse, I was just like, you sit there saying how I changed the game, but you changed the game last week because you never confided in me about Steven. I was never put up there. I was never told about Steven.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, you are, telling me that I'm not allowed to talk to Steven. You know what's... It kills me because the thing that Jesse said to me was, he came to me and he said, Keesha, you are, a target because your friendship with Steven. What the hell is that? I'm a target because of my friendship with Steven. So I have Michelle coming to my room right now, and I'll tell you right now, you better be careful of that one. Because I have Michelle coming to my room right now, last night, telling me she's not in an alliance with you. She's not in an alliance. That's bullshit, and I know it. But that girl will throw whoever under the bus to freaking save her own ass.
Right.
And...
Don't get mad.
It's just like, sometimes it's like... Oh my gosh, you people think that I don't see this? I
think it comes down to the fact
I understand she's scared.
Well, yeah.
And she told me Jesse has my vote. I'm telling you right now, Jesse has my vote. And I said, Michelle, I wouldn't do to you what you guys did to me last week.
What did they do to you? Oh.
Well, as far as not wanting me to hang with Steven. And Michelle was one of the ones who did not want me around Steven. She's trying to pretend now that it's completely different. But she totally did not want me to have anything to do with Steven. She hated it. So I'm like, okay.
Well, it just really, like, upsets me with, like, the way that the balance of the house is. It's just like, when I was friends with Brian and Steven the first week, and I knew Brian was going home, I always made jokes about Brian going home when everybody was around.
Yeah,
it wasn't like I was... and it just really pissed me off when I had to defend myself every single second because I was hanging out with Brian that, the paranoia took me over and then, you add a couple of glasses of wine in on it and then all of a sudden it's like, I'm not going to have anybody. And it really has become that. Like, I don't feel like I have anybody in the house. But that's beside the point.
I know that you have Memphis, and Memphis is a good person.
No, that's why the first week when Memphis was up on the block, I was absolutely devastated because... Memphis has actually reached out and done things as far as, like,
that's what I mean.
Befriending me and doing that.
That's what I mean.
Regardless of what the house is.
I know that I'm not that close to him, you know, but we do have the mutual respect for each other.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you know,